Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A Better You. I am your host, Fernanda Ramirez, and I am so excited to be talking to you guys today. I am currently recording this episode at 11:30 p.m. I'm coming with you with a very full mind, a very happy heart. I feel like there's a lot on my mind recently, and I'm very excited to talk in today's episode, give you guys a little bit of a yap session. I honestly didn't really structure this episode just because I haven't recorded a podcast episode in a few weeks, and honestly, I just kind of want to come back and have my stream of consciousness just flow and speak what I want to speak about, talk about what I want to talk about, give you guys a little bit of a life update, tell you guys how I've been doing, what I've been doing, and just kind of speak from the heart, honestly. In today's episode, I thought that the perfect way to come back, because I've been a little bit MIA, is to make an episode on how to go from low vibrations to high vibrations. I feel like over the past month and a half, I've been really focused on making myself feel great and kind of go back to my homeostasis, and that I did. I have never felt more creative and inspired. I have felt that feeling more in the past few weeks than I did in like the past few months, I think. I don't know if that's 100% true. I feel like I've had so many happy, inspired moments throughout my whole like past few months, but just this past month and a half, I have just been so present and so focused on healing and on self-love, and I've been so intentional about it. I actually got a journal at the beginning of the year, and I have just been documenting all of my thought processes and the things that have been on my mind and my emotions and my feelings and things that have been inspiring me. I feel like I've been consuming more physical media, like reading and watching videos that are long form and not just short form content, and hanging out with people in real life and doing things that I haven't done before. And all of those things contributed to me having such a full month and a half, basically from the beginning of January until the middle of February. And if anything, I feel like I have so much going on in my brain, so many thoughts going on, that I'm finding it very difficult to compartmentalize them, articulate them, deliver them in a way that is compactable, and send them off to you guys. So that is why a very long-winded introduction to what this episode is going to be about, talking to you guys about everything that I did over the past month and a half to go from a low vibrational state into one of happiness and high vibes, and everything that came along with that, because there has just been so many amazing and fun things that have happened over this past month and a half. And I'm hoping that you listening to this, either one, you are still riding the high of the new year and you're feeling great and you're feeling inspired and you're on your new healthy habits and your new routine, and this will kind of just be a little episode of catch up and a little episode where I inspire you, or you maybe get some ideas from this. Or if you have been feeling a little bit low, a little bit sad vibes, then hopefully this episode will kind of inspire you and remind you that like we are still at the very beginning of the new year. Even if you are feeling a little bit down bad, reminder, it's still winter. And I feel like that's something we have to remember. Sometimes, we think that December is done. We think that January is done. We think we're going into spring, and then it's like, wait a second, it's literally still winter. And that's something that actually my friend Myla told me the other day. She was like, I think we have to remind ourselves that just because it's like sunnier days recently, and that's just something that's happening in Vancouver, the sun still is setting at like 5 p.m. and that does have an impact on us. And for me and all my other Vancouverites and people that live in Canada, it is actually, I think, like a recommendation by the government that you have to take vitamin D, because we genuinely do not get enough sun every single day. We're just not doing that. And in fact, on that note, I don't think I've ever been more pale in my life. I haven't been self-tanning this whole winter, which has its pros and cons. I feel like I always feel so sexy and hot when I'm tanned, but at the same time, it is a little bit stanky. It does smell a little bit like artificial products. And so I feel like, although I'm not feeling my hottest and like I could be on a tropical vacation right now, I'm feeling at peace with my paleness. And I think that in itself is beautiful, maybe? I don't know. I feel like it's kind of embracing the natural vibe, and probably better for my actual skin organ to not constantly have products and formulas on it. But I will say I'm missing the tan. And I'm definitely thinking about some vacations coming up because I desperately need the sun. Last few things I want to say before we get started is, if you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, make sure you do so, whether that's on the YouTube channel or on the Spotify or on the Apple or on the Instagram at abetteryou.byfernanda. Although I've been a little bit MIA recently, I really value the community that I have on my podcast, and I feel like you guys know that whenever I post an episode, I try my best to make it high quality and an episode that you can honestly come back to. I never post anything that I'm not proud of or that I don't feel confident in. And so I really appreciate that while I've been a little bit inconsistent recently, the episodes that I do post, I pour a lot of my heart into, and that you guys receive that same energy in return. And you guys respond to me so positively by giving me like big, long comments on whatever the topic is about. And for that, I always appreciate you guys. There's nothing more that I enjoy than like a comment back from a podcast episode. Like, you guys are really getting to know inside my brain, and like you take the time to comment something sweet and nice that goes along with the episode. And you guys are always sending me DMs and just like messages about how much the podcast has influenced you and helped you and just like inspired you. And there's nothing more that I could wish from that. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you guys for listening to the past few episodes, listening to any of the episodes, subscribing to me, keeping up with me, commenting. Like, it really does mean the most to me, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. The more that you guys comment to me, the more that I am so inspired and then I want to create, and then it's just a love circle, honestly. I guess a last little random thing here is happy February. We're literally halfway through February. I can't believe that I'm saying that. I hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day. I had a pretty epic Valentine's Day. I focused a lot on self-care and self-love, and this whole month, I kind of want to talk about that in today's episode too, but I've just been focused on the concept of radiating love and being love, and just like love is the highest vibrational frequency that one can be. And so considering that was my focus for the past month and a half, I feel like you can tell why I'm even talking about going from a low vibrational to a high vibration, because I've been at the peak, okay? All of that was to say that I hope you guys are enjoying the month of love. If you watched my most recent YouTube video, I made a video hosting a Galentine's Day brunch and a Galentine's Day movie night, and also a little self-care night. The whole video is about me talking about like embodying love and just showing love to my friends and my family and myself and my neighbors and the people around me. And like, it really not only lifted up the spirits of the people around me, but it really lifted up my own spirits. And so yeah, Valentine's Day was a movie. I did have Valentine's Day plans. Not going to talk about them on here, but all you guys got to know was that I was having a grand old time, okay? Anyways, let's get into it. Okay. I actually have my journal here with me. And like I said, I didn't really make a script for this podcast episode. And usually I do, which I love having because it's a little bit more structured and I'm not going off into tangents. But in a way, maybe that's what we need today. Maybe that's what my brain needs, just to go into tangents and to talk and yap and go into all the different streams of consciousness, okay? So how I thought I would structure this episode was by going through my journal and looking back to the very beginning of the year and talking about what has been on my mind and what I've been doing, okay? So I've got my journal here in front of me. To give you a little bit of a visual, if you're not visually watching this, I am holding this beautiful journal that I actually got from a vintage store. And it's funny because my mom actually pointed it out to me and she's like, Fernanda, you should get this journal. And it's a leather brown journal with a brown strap that goes around it. And it's a little bit dad looking, one might say. It's a little bit, I don't even know. It looks like it's out of The Hobbit. Like, it kind of looks like manly? I don't know. To me, it's giving fairy core. It's giving cottage core. It's giving very like... Do you know what comes to my mind? It's like when Harry Styles said in that one interview that his movie feels like you're watching a movie. This journal feels like I'm holding a journal. I hope that makes sense for you. But anyways, you unravel it, which feels very nice, to open up the journal. And I love that it has like a little bit of privacy, a little bit of mystery. I'm kind of traumatized from having journals because I swear everyone reads them. And so I stopped journaling for a long time. And I wanted to get back into it this year. And I'm just accepting that hopefully nobody reads it. And being vulnerable with it, because again, it was something that I loved to do before, but I stopped doing for so long because of fear of it being like read or something. But anyways, all of that was to say that I like the little wrap around string that it has because it feels like there's more protection, even though that's not actually true. I also made a YouTube video talking about how I've been journaling a lot recently and that I wanted to make a video on it. And this is not the video on the journaling, but just to give you a little bit of like insight, I feel like what I've been doing with this journal is writing down just whatever I'm feeling, if it's like something happy, like whatever I'm just doing during the day, but also whatever I've been reflecting on, and also whatever things have been on my mind as like food for thought. Like if I have an idea that I really like, I kind of like research it and like write it down and like find quotes that I really like and then write them down and how they all kind of relate. And I feel like it's just finding different inspiration from like different avenues, whether it was like a movie I saw or a book I read or a quote I saw or someone quoting anything, and that kind of just stood out to me. It's like adding all of that into this journal has been so fun, and then kind of like reflecting on it all and then writing down what I think about it. It's just like this whole journal is a constant stream of thoughts. I've also been adding stickers and little highlighters and washi tape, and I've also been doing a lot of gratitude lists and affirmations, and I've also been making little reflections based on podcast episodes I've been listening to, as well as doing little goal settings for the beginning of the month and also reflections at the end of the month. That's what I did for January. And yeah, so it's been kind of just like an everything journal, and I've been loving it. Okay, you guys, we have gotten to the sponsor portion of today's video, and the sponsor is Mud Water. You guys know I'm all about my energy, and I think something we need to talk about is the fact that the 3 p.m. crash is real. I used to always rely on like energy drinks to get me through the day, even though they did definitely raise my heartbeat and just give me so much anxiety and jittery vibes. But I have recently been adding Mud Water into my daily routine, and it has actually made such a big difference. Instead of riding the highs and lows of energy drinks and coffee, Mud Water gives you steady, sustained energy that lasts throughout your day without the crash. It is a warm, nourishing drink packed with cacao and adaptogenic mushrooms, which is all the hype these days. It has all the stuff to keep you focused and feeling good, which are both things that I prioritize. Also, if you're a matcha lover like me, they also have their matcha starter kit, which is a must try. Not only is it matcha, but it's not just any kind of matcha. It is blended with functional mushrooms and herbs to give you that calm, focused energy without the caffeine jitters. As they say, it is like taking a deep breath of fresh air, one that is grounding, refreshing, and so smooth. The best part about all this is that Mud Water is a USDA certified, organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher. There is no sugar, no artificial sweetener, which I've been trying to get off, just clean and natural energy. If you are ready to make the switch to cleaner energy, head to mudwater.com and grab your starter kit today. Right now, A Better You listeners are getting an exclusive deal, which is up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use the code BETTER. That is 43% off with the code BETTER in all capital letters at mudwtr.com. After your purchase, they will ask you how you found them. If you would like to show your support, you can do that and also let them know that I sent you. And yeah, thank you, Mud Water, for sponsoring this week's episode. Keep your energy natural and refreshing all year long with Mud Water, because life's too short for anything less than clean, delicious energy. And let's get back to the video. Back to the original plot of this episode. If you've been keeping up with me, you know what's going on in my life. You kind of maybe know what I've been going through recently. You would know that at the beginning of this year, I was feeling low. I was feeling down. I was feeling sad. It was a bad vibe. I just had some situation come up that really rocked my boat, and I felt so low. And I was so mad at myself for feeling low at the beginning of the year, because I was like, there's just no way. I want to feel like 2025 is going to be my year, and something about going into the new year on a bad note is just not the way I want to feel. But I gave myself the time and the space to feel like myself again, and I did all the things that made me feel good by myself for the first week of January. And from that week going on, I decided that I wanted to spend more intentional time with myself. That has been my word of the month, of the year so far in the past month and a half. Being intentional. When you are going through the motions of trying to practice self-love, you can do the self-care, you can do the skincare, you can do the things that people tell you to do, but if you don't have meaning or intention behind them, you're just going through the motions. And I feel like when you get really clear with why you want to feel self-love, why you're doing what you're doing, and why you deserve to feel good and how you want to feel good, and you have that long-term vision in the future, it's so much easier to do the face mask and do it out of love, and not just because someone told you to do it. You're doing it because you know it's going to make you feel good. And once you do it for long enough, you've been doing self-care practices for a week, you start to really feel good about yourself, and then doing the self-care habits becomes second nature, because it's I've been feeling so great for this past week, why would I stop now? It just feels so good. Let's keep it going. So that's kind of what my word of the month has been. Being intentional with my time, being intentional with the content I consume, being intentional with the people that I'm spending my time with, being intentional with what I'm reading, what I'm journaling about, the movies I'm watching, the music I'm listening to, just really honing in on why I'm doing what I'm doing, and finding new outlets of inspiration. I feel it's so easy to get caught up in the scroll of social media, just being in the doom scroll. I am such a big victim of this. I'll get into a little doom scroll, and I think that I'm absorbing all this information because I'm watching these TikToks of these people doing food for thought pieces. And although that is interesting, it's so much more meaningful when you go out into the world and say, for example, go into a bookstore and you're just browsing around and you see something that sparks your genuine interest and you follow that curiosity and let that inspire you. I feel like that has been so helpful for me over the past month. And literally just doing things in real life has made me have so many revelations. I saw this girl a while ago say that as much as you can read about things or find information online that's interesting to you, you need to live out experiences to like actually have real life realizations or real life like wisdom come to you or real life experiences that like will actually bring you joy. It's not just you being in your bed doom scrolling and living vicariously through other people. That will never give you the same amount of fulfillment as actually doing those things yourself, and you won't even learn the lessons or feel like you're living your life if you're not actually doing it in real life, if that makes sense. I don't even know if that made sense, but what I'm trying to say is that I've just been trying to live more in the real world, and not only just live more in the real world going through the motions, but live in the real world doing the things that you know make you feel good, and not only doing the things that you know make you feel good, but doing things out of your comfort zone that could potentially make you feel really great. Going through my journal, it all started on January 12th when me and my friend Trinity were going on a walk. We had a little coffee in the morning and we went to a little farmer's market and we got fruit, and it was such a beautiful sunny day, and we both had our journals and we went to go journal in front of the water, and our prompt was, what would our perfect day look like? And as we're both writing what our perfect day looks like, we're writing things like, you know, we would wake up and go get a coffee and go on a walk and wear a cute little outfit and do some skincare. And as we're both talking about what our perfect day looks like, we realized, wait a second, we live our perfect day a lot. You know, our perfect day is not being on this like helicopter ride and going on vacation and going to Lake Como. Our perfect day literally involved waking up, seeing a friend, going to get a coffee, taking a walk, getting a fresh strawberry. Like, it is the simple luxuries in life that actually make life worth living. And I feel like we both had that little realization in that moment that like we're so blessed to be living our perfect day very often. And again, we are very privileged to be able to say that. But I feel like the lesson here is like realizing that it's the little things that make you feel good, and that you actually live a really great day so many days of the year, and that you should be so grateful for that. And knowing that, let's welcome more of that into our lives. And so that was where this prompt for this journal kind of started and kind of led me to enjoying and appreciating the smaller things all throughout the next month. On January 23rd, I listened to a podcast by Heinz that was called Blank Page. A quote that he said that really stood out to me that I wrote down in my journal was, your credentials are in your spirit, not just in your material success. And I feel like that really stood out to me, and it's been something that I've been thinking about also throughout this past month, in the sense that although material success is great and having things is so wonderful and having tangible things that kind of represent your success is so meaningful, your spirit, feeling good, feeling high vibrational, that is what makes the biggest impact. I feel like it's such a good reminder for me that at the end of the day, who I'm trying to be and who I'm striving to be is to be a good person and to feed my soul, and not just my ego who wants the external success, who wants the tangible things, who wants to look good from an external point of view. But in reality, the biggest flex is having a soul that is high vibrational, that is happy, that is grateful, that is thankful, that is filled with love. And like, that is what makes you a good person. That is what also pours into all these different aspects of your life that then will automatically bless you in return with this material success anyways. But to not place importance on the material success and forget about your spirit and abandon your spirit. Another thing he said in his podcast episode that stood out to me, or that kind of felt relevant to where I was in this moment, was that some seasons aren't about materials. Maybe this season is about equipping yourself so that you are ready to step in a position to receive. Again, this really stood out to me because I was feeling a little bit low at the beginning of the year, and I was like, why aren't things going my way? Why am I not starting off this year with a bang? Why am I not doing the absolute most like I think I should be doing? But instead, rather focusing on pouring into myself and making my soul feel good and feeding my actual soul, and reminding myself that just because maybe this season isn't one of like crazy ambition or hustle or fast pace or doing the most, right now I'm actually planting the seeds for me to be able to receive in the future. And I guess that's also kind of the message of this episode, and what I want to kind of remind you guys is that if you're not feeling that good right now, a reminder that this is the time that you have to nourishing yourself. And another quote that I saw this girl say was that everything that you do with your body this month will show up next month. And of course, she she was talking about kind of like dieting and stuff. And like, if you work out this month, you're going to be really fit next month. But I feel like what I'm talking about right now is kind of the soul and your mental health, and like all the things that you do, practices of self-love or compassion, doing the things that bring you back to yourself are going to show next month in a tenfold. Is that how you say it? I don't really know. I mean, I feel like I've never used that statement before, but like everything that I did last month made this month feel so good. And I guess that's the reminder as well, to just be patient with yourself when you are feeling low vibrational, because if you add these glimmers of joy and happiness and love daily, you will feel the results soon enough. Can I just say also, another thought that I was having this month or this past month that was really inspiring me was the idea of feeling alive. I don't want to go into this topic so in depth because, at least not in this episode, because I feel like I have so much that I want to say on this, and I feel like I could make a really good episode on it. But just to kind of give like a brief little dipping my toes into it in this episode, I feel like it's really easy to go through life passively and unconsciously. Again, sometimes you don't even realize that you're unconscious because you're so unconscious. To me, this means like to go through your days in a hurry, in a rush, thinking about the future or thinking about the past, not being present and kind of numbing yourself with distractions, whether that be with friends or parties. Maybe it's genuinely actually something that's making you unconscious, like for example, drinking. Maybe it can be drowning yourself in music. Maybe it could be drowning yourself in social media. There are so many ways where you can go through life and not realize that time is happening and the days are going by and you're not even present to feel it. I feel like that was me for a few months, and that was genuinely a reason for why I was feeling low vibrational. Like I'm wondering why the days are going so fast, the time is going so fast, and like the whole reason was because I wasn't being present. And so anyways, all of that was to say that this past month I really focused on being present and feeling alive. And to me, feeling alive means to embrace all the different senses that you have and really be present through it all. So with this whole concept of being alive, this past month, I really focused on all of my different senses and making my space around me reflect how I want to feel internally. For example, visually, I made sure that my place was beautiful, that my place was clean, that my place represented how I feel internally. I absolutely love when my decoration or my space around me is built with intentionality and everything has a purpose and everything has a reason for why it is there or why I picked it out. That means a lot to me. I love when I look beautiful, when I dress beautiful, like it just, everything visual to me makes me so excited and makes life worth living because I feel like there's so many beautiful things around me and I'm just able to even like capture so many photos of the things that are around me that feel pretty and it makes me excited. Another one could be scent. I feel like recently over the past month, I've been lighting candles every day and I've been so into flowers. I've been buying a lot of flowers and I feel like my apartment smells so fresh and clean, so beautiful, again, visually. Again, with the senses, we've got touch. I feel like I've been so much more intentional with applying lotion to my body, with practicing self-care, even wearing materials on my body that feel good. Speaking about scent, I feel like sleeping with like sleep sprays and like perfumes. Again, being intentional with the perfume I'm wearing that like matches my outfit or matches the season or matches the occasion. Like that is super fun. Oh, hearing. I've been loving listening to new different types of music and different genres, and also listening to music that is a little bit slower, but also faster when I'm feeling excited and happy. I just feel like honoring your emotions with music is such a beautiful experience, and finding new music is so fun for me, and also making playlists that reflect the emotional state that I'm in is so exciting for me. And I guess the last sensation we have is like touch, and I feel like for touch, I want to say doing activities that are different and fun and new. This past month, I went rock climbing for the first time, which was so much fun. That was something that I had never even done before, and I want to talk about that after, but I feel like even moving your hands like that, like I took my nails off and that was also very satisfying for me, but doing something new with my body felt really good. I also love polymer clay, and I was like playing around with my polymer clay and like again doing intricate things with my fingers. Like that was really fun for me. I love having like fuzzy blankets on my bed and also silk, also like getting manicures and pedicures, like just like, I don't know, I just feel like using all of your senses day to day makes you feel really present and grounded. Also like touching different materials, like whenever I'm like, I don't know, I get breakfast and then I go to like a grassy patch, there is just nothing more I love than like actually feeling the grass and feeling like I'm there. The other thing that I wanted to say about being present and feeling alive is doing things every single day that are different and exciting. And I've said this before, but there was this like saying that like time goes by faster when you get older because you do less new things, if that makes sense. You get into a routine and everything feels really monotonous. That's a random new word. I said that the other day and I didn't even remember if I said it right, but doing things every day that feel repetitive and the same, when you do that, which usually happens when you're an adult, time goes by so fast and you don't even realize that time is escaping you. But when every single day you do something a little bit different, your mind is so stimulated and activated that like time genuinely feels longer. And I also feel like that's why since my breakup, that has been like 5 months ago, I have felt like it's been a lifetime because there's been so much novelty. My brain has been, I think, stimulated for 5 months straight, if not longer. But like, I just feel like doing new things every day is gonna make you feel alive. You're gonna feel real. You're gonna feel hella real, honestly. And in January and in February, I did so many new activities. Like I said, rock climbing was something that I had never done before. I went to a few sports games, which was new for me. And again, really stood out in my mind when I was reflecting on what I did in January. Those things stood out to me because I haven't done those things before. I also went on a hike with my friend, which was so exciting. I did so much baking. Oh my God. Which, by the way, baking hobby is gonna have to take a break because like low-key, why did I gain so much weight from like 2 weeks of baking? Like that's not chill. But baking, that was super fun. I made some crazy like cakes and cookies and cupcakes. I literally baked like 10 things. Like it was so much fun. I was doing the journaling, which I hadn't done before. I was buying new like stickers and like buying all this stuff to do scrapbooking. I went to different parts of my town. I went to new coffee shops. I went to new areas of my city. I went shopping, so I was wearing new things. I was experimenting with like my hair. I went to new restaurants. I finally fixed my bike, so I went bike riding and that was super fun. I was like biking in the dark, which was like so exciting. I went to a crystal shop. I went to new bookstores and got new books, which inspired my mind. And honestly, guys, reading is so underrated. I know that either I'm late to the party or, you know, you guys are with me on this one, but I definitely go through phases where I don't read. And every time I pick up a book and it's something that like genuinely is like really interesting to me, I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? Because there is just something about like, first of all, holding something tangible is just like, God, get off your phone, girl. This is so much more fun. Speaking of touch, okay? So like reading something is so fun. And then reading something that you're interested in and is like, no one's forcing you to read it is really a beautiful experience. I bought this book and I've been talking about it on my YouTube, so I don't want to get into it too much here, but it's called The Art of Loving. And again, I bought it because I was like, you know, I'm in this like self-love journey. I kind of just like the idea of love. But basically, I was reading this book and I decided to annotate it because I feel like sometimes I read things and it just goes straight through one ear and out the other ear. And if I'm annotating it, I'm writing it down, I'm highlighting things, I'm writing my own notes. It's like so much more comprehensive than just like reading it and not even like digesting it. So anyways, I was annotating it and I feel like that really stood out to me for the month of January because it was such a big focus for me that whole month, that book that I was reading. And again, when you're reading something, it translates into everything that you're doing day to day. And because I was reading that book, I felt like my days were more intentional because I was thinking about what the book said. And then when things would happen in real life that related to the book, it kind of like made that connection between the two. I don't know. It was just another way that I felt very present and very alive. I also bought a record player, which was really exciting. I haven't set it up yet, but that was something that happened in the past month and a half that I'm really excited for. And I've just been really trying to get more into my hobbies. Another way that I felt that I was really present over the past month and a half that made me feel high vibrational was taking the time to do rituals. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what a ritual is, which is kind of common sense, but I feel like I just love even the definition of it. But like a habit is something that you do every single day, but a ritual is something that you do. It doesn't have to be every single day, but it's something that you do with intention and meaning behind it. For example, if I do like a little self-care love ritual like once every 2 weeks, that's not necessarily a habit, but it's like a ritual. It's something that I like to do with intention behind it, and it's done with presence. I forgot to add that one in there. So I feel like I've been trying to do more rituals and they really are so meaningful. Like it's just time for you with you that are not done mindlessly. And so the more rituals that you do, the more present you feel. If I did rituals all month, no wonder my month felt so good and present and high vibrational. A few of the rituals that I did over the past month and a half were, for one, making my drinks at home instead of going to buy them out. It is so easy to go get a coffee. You just go, you buy it, you didn't even have to make it, you drink it, maybe you're on your phone at the same time, you didn't even taste the drink that you just had, and it's just done before you know it. But when you take the time to make it at home, and you buy the little syrups and you have your nice little cup and you're taking the time to enjoy your drink, it becomes a whole ritual, not just something that you just ingested in 5 minutes. Another random thought, this is my brain sidetracking, but when I was with Trinity a few weeks ago, we were talking about how we missed the feeling of being whimsical, when you're young and you're just kind of playful and you're maybe in a garden, or your imagination is wild, and just the idea of being whimsical is that's just what you do when you're young, okay? And there's a creator, I think her name is Kitty, on Instagram, and her whole brand is basically on being whimsical and being youthful and being childlike and having that childlike wonder. And she also really inspired me because I'm this girl just looks so happy. I want to be on the level she's on. And so we were saying how we wanted to kind of be little alter egos of fairies. Again, this is random. My train of thought's going crazy. Anyways, all of this was to say was I got edible lavender and edible rose petals, and I have these beautiful plates, and I had pistachios, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make all my meals just so beautiful and take the time to make them and to make them look like a fairy is gonna eat them, okay? So I remember one morning I made myself a nice little tea with a tea blend that I had to scoop up and put into a little baggie that you fold up, and it's the tea bag. And then I had my yogurt, and I put my yogurt on this beautiful plate, and I added little raspberries and blueberries, and I added little mint leaves and chopped up pistachios and some lavender bits and some honey. And it's literally, it's just me that's eating this. It does not need to be this extra. It does not need to be this whole elaborate breakfast just for a yogurt parfait, but something about taking the time to do it, making it so intentional, making it so beautiful, and it's for nobody but me. What a wonderful act of self-love. I'm telling you, taking the time to be intentional with the things that you're doing and putting in effort for yourself is going to make you feel a million times better. And it really just goes to show something as simple as that. That's basically how I lived my past month and a half, with intention and with care and with love for myself. And it's making me realize, you don't actually, and I'm saying this for also people who are single that are maybe getting out of a relationship, it's you don't need anyone else to give you that level of love and attention and care when you can do that for yourself. You don't need another person to bring you that joy when you can do that for yourself. And how special is it that you are in charge of the way that you feel? You can do that for yourself day to day if you want to or not. So that's just a little, I guess, example of something that is so easy to just do mindlessly. Make a little yogurt splotch on a bowl and just put some fruit on there if you're lucky and eat it, or taking the time to make it beautiful. It makes all the difference. And I feel it's those little things that make up your whole life, that make you feel excited, that make you feel childlike and youthful and fun and excited. I feel excited just talking about this right now. So anyways, that's been a very whimsical practice of mine these days, taking the time to make my meals beautiful. And as I look over to this corner right now, I've got a beautiful rose. I'll show you guys if you guys are visual watching this podcast. But I was walking in the city today and I stumbled across a flower market and I saw this beautiful rose, and I've really been into flowers these days. And I'm like, you know what? I deserve to buy myself a rose because I like it, because I think it looks beautiful in my apartment. And I have it next to a wonderful candle, which previously I was saving this candle for a good reason. I was I'm not going to use it until I have a reason to use it, if there's guests coming over. And then recently I thought to myself, there is no reason that I need to wait for somebody to come and so that my candle is worthy of suddenly being used when somebody else is here. I can use this candle for me because it makes me happy, because I deserve to use it, because today and now is the only moment we have, and tomorrow I could be dead, and then I never ended up using that candle. Another example of this could be I always see these TikToks, and it's these girls that when they're much older, they're 20, and they're finding their sticker packets of when they were 10 years old, and all their nicest stickers are still there. And it's kind of a sad moment when you're looking back and you're realizing, damn, I didn't use my nicest stickers because I was waiting for the perfect moment to use them, when I realized there was no perfect moment and I never ended up using them. And so that kind of makes me also reflect to, like I said, my candle, these beautiful things that I have. And it's instead of waiting for the right moment to use it, use them daily, use them because you want to use them, because they make you feel good, and realizing that the future isn't guaranteed. You don't know if that perfect day is ever going to come, but today is the only day you have. And so use it in that moment and use it with intention and be grateful for it and give love to those little moments, because again, that is what makes your life. So anyways, that was a very long-winded example of like some ways to bring whimsical vibes and intentionality into your day-to-day and how my state was just so high vibe this past month. I also wanted to say a big attribute to my vibe being so high this month was because I spent time with a lot of people that made me feel very good. There's been times in the past where I thought, and this is unfortunate, but I thought if I was high vibrational and I was not always hanging out with people that were low vibrational, but I was just surrounded by them, I'm like, it's fine. They're not really affecting me. It's fine that they're not the happiest vibe. If they're not affecting me, it's fine to keep them around. But I will say, over the past month and a half, I was like, you know what? Even those people that slightly give me an off vibe or that kind of stress me out or that I don't really match their vibe, I don't need to keep them around. Just because they're not directly affecting you, or so you think, doesn't mean that they should be around. And so cutting off those people that are a negative vibe or you feel like you don't really see the world through the same eyes, cutting those people out is going to make you feel so much better because you are a combination of the people that you spend time with. And even if you feel like you're not being directly affected by these people, just by the way that they speak, by the way that they move, by the way that they act, you will subconsciously pick up on these habits. And if you don't want to be like them or you don't admire some of the traits they have, why are you even around them? And that's something that I feel like I really had to sit with and learn and just be like, just because they are not directly hurting you doesn't mean you need to sit around and hear what they have to say about other people or other situations or just like the energy that they have, because it does affect you and it does rub off on you. So having that said, being around people that make you feel good is so important. Being around people that make you forget that you even have a phone, so important. And again, that's another trick in itself. To get off your phone, to minimize the hours of screen time that you have, do things that make you forget that you even have a phone so you can be present, so you can be in the moment, and so that you can live in the real world. Another thing I want to say about the whole being present thing, and I talked about this earlier, but I did drink less over the past like month and a half. I don't even think I got drunk, which maybe is like normal, but I feel like as someone that's like in their early 20s, girl living in the city, having fun, like it's just common that you go out and you go drinking, whatever. And I didn't really do that over the past month and a half, and I actually felt phenomenal. And this past weekend I did go out, and while it felt good in the moment, are we surprised? I didn't feel that great the following days after. And it kind of reminded me that, you don't need alcohol to have fun. It actually doesn't make necessarily things better. And although it is fun in the moment, it does leave your body not feeling the best. Technically poison, it's not actually good for you. And like, it is harder to be present, obviously, when doing those things because you're not fully conscious. And so again, I always feel like a hypocrite when I talk about drinking and stuff, because it's like, at the end of the day, I am a girl in my 20s and I probably will go out and I will party and I will do these things. And I give myself compassion and grace, and like, I let things be the way they are as they are. Like, I don't need to harshly judge things too much or go one way or do a full 180 and cut something out. Like, I just don't need to do that. It doesn't benefit me. But I do think that in the future, I probably will cut it out of my life eventually. And it's just like, as I get older, I feel like I'm realizing more and more that it might not align with me or who I want to be all the time. And so it's just something to consider and something to be aware of and mindful of if you are engaging in that, and just like realizing that if you want to be this highest vibrational version of yourself, realizing what makes you feel good and what doesn't, and so that you can do more of those things that make you feel good and cut out the things that don't make you feel as good. Speaking of rituals, which I had mentioned a few minutes ago, some other things that I did this past month and a half that made me feel really good were doing meditations. I've also been doing a lot of yoga and stretching and like mat Pilates and like exercises in my apartment. That makes me feel so good. And I feel like sometimes I forget that like I don't need to do this vigorous workout to feel like I'm like working out. Sometimes doing a little bit of movement in my apartment, but daily and consistently, actually makes me feel better than like 1 or 2 hardcore workouts a week. Genuinely, I feel like the energy is like moving through my body. I feel like my inflammation has gone down. Also, cutting out sugar, low-key, after that baking era, stopping eating sugar has made me feel so much better. But anyways, daily movement has made the energy feel like it's flowing through my body. I feel like those emotional blockages are being opened. I can feel myself becoming more flexible, which is something that I love and something that I really value. I feel like I don't ever want to be at the point in my life where I feel like I can't move my bones properly. Like, that's just not it for me. So like being able to like stretch and exercise and feel fit and feel confident in my body is like so special to me. And also that time when you're like on the mat and you're just like moving intentionally, it feels so good. And also moving with intention. And I just feel like it really makes all the difference. I think that the results are not just something that you can feel, but something that people can see on you. Like I have been told by the people in my life that like you look so much happier, and like genuinely it's those little things that add up. Another thing that I have loved doing is simply just reflecting and writing it out in my journal. I feel like writing about your experiences, I saw a quote today and it was saying, I don't even know what it is. I always quote things that I don't even remember, but it was something about how like when you're writing things down, you get to experience the moment twice. And I really want to be better at documenting more of my day to day. And I know I document a lot. I make YouTube videos and podcasts and I'm always reflecting and documenting it and posting it. But even documenting things for yourself is so special. I feel like it allows you to process what happened a little bit better, to extract the experience and the wisdom from the situations and turn it into something beautiful or some like art or something, whatever that is to you. And again, it feels like you're being more present. So I feel like the time goes a little bit slower. And also, I feel like I want to be better at reflecting to myself, whether that's like a MacBook little vlog that I just filmed for me, but letting my stream of conscious just like go with the flow and just speak for the sake of speaking and seeing what naturally comes up, because I have a tendency of like waiting for the perfect moment and the perfect topic and have it all scripted out and like, delivering it as a podcast episode when I feel ready. And it's just like, I want to be better at talking and expressing my feelings, even if it's just for me daily. And I think something that I'm going to start doing, which if you want to be a part of this, maybe you could do this too. Maybe it could be like a 30-day challenge or something where like 10 minutes every morning, you just press play on a video and you just record your stream of consciousness. You just talk and you just see what comes out. It's almost like writing in a journal, but instead of journaling, it's talking. I feel like that would really benefit me just to get my thoughts out into the world and verbalized. I feel like it also allows you to be more in tune with yourself and to really know how you feel, because I think nothing feels better than just being so in tune with your emotions and your physical body and like just even where you're standing on things. Does that make sense? Like what your opinion is on things. And I feel like it allows you to meet people and act in ways that truly align with who you are, and not just letting like the flow of life kind of dictate the way that you're responding to someone, the way that you're acting with someone, the way that you're making decisions. Because again, I feel like this past weekend I kind of like let loose a little bit, and now reflecting back, I'm like, did I do things that were really in alignment to what I wanted to do? And I would say that the answer was no, and it was because I was not being intentional and I was not being present. And so again, that was my reminder, my little wake up call to be like, girl, no, the past month and a half were blessed. Just because this past weekend was a little bit crazy, let's go back to that, because like that was feeling so good previously. Anyways, I've been talking for so long and I'm kind of scared. I kind of want to wrap this up a little bit, but I guess all of this is to say that to go from a low vibrational to a high vibration, I have so many episodes on this. So if you want to see like more a structured episode, definitely go listen to those, because I'll tell you like what workouts you should be doing, what you should be eating, habits you should be doing, whatever. But I feel like the way that I'm approaching this episode is kind of more of like on a soul level, which might be kind of corny in a way, but like it's really true. I feel like moving through the world, moving day to day with a lens of self-compassion and self-love and slowing down and being present has made me feel so high vibrational and has made my mood feel so much more elevated. And I just feel so much happier than when I am in a state of running away from distractions, from being out of sync with myself, from not reflecting, from not like being in tune. It has made all the difference for me. If you are in this low vibrational state, I just feel like I have to give the reminder or the disclaimer that like, it's okay. Things will get better. It is so common. It is so easy. And even for me, like I have this podcast on like becoming the best version of yourself. I'm constantly reinventing myself and trying to become this version of myself. But I feel like, honestly, even when I started this episode, I may have had an idea in my mind of who this ideal version of Fernanda is and like this person on a pedestal. And you might have that version of yourself that you think is this highest version of you. But I feel like now, after 2 years of having this podcast, I feel like your best self, your highest self is like someone who is constantly evolving and is going with the flow of life. And like, if at some point you're in a low vibrational state, that does not mean it's the end of the world. It just means that's where you're at right now. And you have the tools to get better and you have the ability to feel good again. And like, it's a constant process and it's a state of being. It's not like you can just be there and it's like working out. it's not like you're just going to work out for 1 week and then you're going to be fit and you're never going to not be fit anymore. You have to keep it up, and it's something that you keep doing, and you might go through different phases in life where maybe sometimes you're really fit, maybe sometimes you're out of it, maybe sometimes you are. And that is okay. So all of that was to say, if you feel low vibrational right now, don't worry about it. You can get there. You can feel good again. You will feel good again. And even if it takes time, the time is worth it. Whatever you do this month will reflect next month. And if you realize that what makes you feel good daily is these little things, these little moments every single day, these little glimmers of love and hope and acts of kindness towards yourself, you will realize that like you are so blessed every day. There's so much to be grateful for. There's so much to be excited for. There is so much whimsical in every single day. And like you have the power to influence your days, to influence your mood, to influence your habits, and to influence your emotions. And again, it might take time. There are so many external things going on in the world right now that are low vibe and like not good news. But at the same time, there's all the good stuff too. And it's just where you look, and keeping a positive outlook and keeping a hopeful outlook. I'm going to end this off here. That is what I have done in the past month and a half to stay high vibrational, to be intentional, to stay positive, and to add whimsical vibes into my life, okay? And yeah, I'm just feeling really good right now. I'm feeling very excited. I'm feeling very inspired, and I'm feeling very alive. And that's kind of what I want you guys to feel after listening to this episode and going off into the world. I'm sending you off whenever you're finished listening to this episode. Reminder, guys, you are alive. You're a living creature. And how blessed are we to be alive? We have free will. Okay, I'm going insane. It's literally 12:26 as I film this in the morning. So I'm going to go. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.